Hardie, and I run East End Press, which is a printing and design studio in the East End of Glasgow. I studied at the art school, graduated in 2011, and I travelled for a few years and just couldn't get a job when I came back to Britain that I liked. So then I started just making stuff, printing stuff and selling it at like markets and events like that, and just trying to make some cash anyway. I did a few internships and stuff in charities doing design and just really hated working in an office. So I knew I wanted to do something where I was making stuff and it was quite practical and hands-on, and it just sort of grew from there really. So I was making and printing things in Glasgow Print Studio, and slowly then needed like my own facilities, and then slowly needed a bigger space, and it's just slowly grown from there. So the only things I still make in the studio are the wooden products, just because it's so much, they're so cheap to make, like the margin on them is so good. So I screen print sheets of wood, just sort of like thin 3mm birch plywood, A3 sheets. I can probably fit about 20 decorations on, and then I laser cut them here and just have big boxes of decorations, a bit like this. So they're just like laser cut shapes that are all pre-printed. So I print the sheets first, then cut them. And then people come and collect them, and boxes and thread and stuff, and they pack them for me and bring them back to the studio as like packed boxes like this. And so the products themselves are really, the margins are really good. The most expensive part of them is the actual box and paying someone to pack them. They're the only things that are still made in Britain. And then the garlands, I used to make them in Britain in the studio, but it was just too time consuming. So these are made in India, and these are probably my most popular product. And they're screen printed paper shapes that are then sewn in a length like a garland. And so they're all hand printed, and they're made in Jaipur, and they're one of the things I went out to India and found someone to make. So I try and bring out 4 or 5 new designs each, like twice a year each season. So I'm just currently finishing off the Christmas ones. So they're really probably my best selling product. And then I experiment with other things. So I'm increasingly going away from homeware and textiles and more into just decorations and decorative, I don't even know what you call it, like just decorations really, like party wear. So these were some baubles I got made last Christmas, and they are paper mache that's been painted. They're made in North India, and they were popular at events, but they weren't really popular wholesale, and most of my business is selling to other shops, and then buying it off me and selling it on. And for some reason, the baubles just weren't as popular as the decorations and the garlands, so I'm probably not going to do them again. And then like I mentioned, I'm about to go to India and work with people to make papel picado, which are these paper cut flags. So these are just some like generic ones I bought, and they typically have Day of the Dead skulls on them, or they have very religious iconography on them, and they're used as like party celebration banners, and they're hung between like streets and things. And I really love them, but generally the colour choices are very out there. You can't really get them in more considered muted colours, or like a more considered palette. It's just like all the colours, and I quite like that, but I think they'll sell very well over here if they're more muted. So I'm working with Mexican papel artists and doing, I've got 3 different ones coming. So one's a sort of celestial night one with moons and stars. It's all going to be different shades of blue. I've got a botanic-y one that's all greens and organic shapes, and then a sort of hearts and lovebirds one. But I haven't wanted to stray too far from their traditional images, because I'm very aware that they are a very traditional item, and I just don't want to like steamroller in and start putting a Tunnock's tea cake on it. And then the other items are these tin decorations, and again, this is just one I bought, it's not like one of my designs. But these are called milagros in Mexico, and they're little like good luck charms. And traditionally there'll be like a leg or an arm or a part of the face, and you'd give it to someone if they were having a journey or an operation as like a little good luck memento. And I just think they're a really lovely items. And again, I don't want to stray too far from like the traditional Mexican images of like birds. You get hearts, body parts. I'm finding it harder to find people that make these, but I'm hoping when I get to Mexico I might find someone. But I just think they're really pretty and could sit quite well with like my own stuff. So yeah, they're another product I'm developing. This year I went to America to do a trade show there, and it was very similar, sort of bookshops, independent gift shops, gallery shops. But yeah, long term my goal is to have more like high street chain shops as well, which isn't very good of me because I know it's all about the independents. But originally it was just anywhere I could get to have it, sort of generally places that were local. And I was really lucky. I think generally Edinburgh has more independent shops that were prepared to sort of take a gamble on it initially, but slowly places in, I felt like I had enough stockists in Scotland. So it was all little independent shops and gallery shops. And so then I started doing trade shows and trying to get shops spread across the country, so I wasn't just sort of saturating one area. And definitely gallery and museum gift shops have turned out to be my niche. So they seem to like it, I guess because it's sort of that, it's a bit more design-led and less commercial and a bit quirky, and gallery shops like something a bit different. So I found that they've been really good for me.
Number 22 opened in November 2017. The idea behind it was to really try and do something a little bit different with kind of retail offering on the high street. I say retail offering, which sounds very grand. It's a tiny little shop on the south side of Glasgow. But I like to think it does offer something different. It offers lots of handcrafted, handmade, upcycled products that are by many by Scottish makers, but also by people that are just really into trying to show a different side to craft, to do things that involve colour, to do things that involve style, and just to do something and to kind of explore more of the weirdness, if you like, more of the strangeness and weirdness and ideas that people have when they make things. So you will see products from other parts of the world as well. And what I try and do my best to do is to work with people where I know how things are made. Can't always do it, but I try my best to do that. There's lots of upcycled products as well, from furniture, some vintage pieces of art, for example. And I think what finds its way in here is things that I like. So it's down to me really what I like. So yeah, that's a wee bit of the story of number 22. This is made by a friend of mine's, Owl and Cat Interiors, and Carolyn, who is Owl and Cat Interiors, upcycles lots of different pieces, but also hand makes pieces, textiles, things like that. I've known Carolyn for years and I love her work. I think it's really unusual. She's got a real grasp, and I think we share a kind of common interest in interiors and a particular type of interiors as well. I also have quite a number of Japanese prints, not as many as I used to have because I sold quite a few this month. And they're made by a husband and wife team, Floating World, who source original Japanese prints, and then they purchase them, and then they work on them, reprint them and so on, frame them, and I think that's stunning. There's lots of vintage pieces as well, and that's probably a bit of an obsession with me. I'm at my happiest if I can find myself in a second-hand car boot sale, rummaging around in the dirt. I had to be prevented this week from getting out the car with my partner and looking in a skip which had something that was near his work. I was like, don't do it. I've never claimed to be an artist. I'm not an artist. I upcycle furniture. I'm a scrap maker, I would probably call myself. Businesswoman implies such a lot of seriousness. I'm not quite sure if I could aspire to such seriousness. But yeah, at the end of the day, I have a business, and I have to make it work, and I have to make decisions sometimes about not stocking particular things, and that might be an ethical decision, but it might also be because, and it has happened where I've had stock that just hasn't worked really. Don't go into doing anything without understanding who you are, what you are, and believe in yourself about that, and don't change because people tell you to change. Be yourself and be true to yourself, really. I think when you make something, you invest, no matter if you make a cushion or if you make a piece of jewellery or you make a ceramic, you've invested something of yourself in that. So if somebody comes along and picks it up at a market stall, for example, and says, oh my God, that's horrible, look at that, and that happens, it's hard not to take that personally, but you have to find a way to do that, and you have to find a way to understand the value of your work, both not undervaluing it, but also not overvaluing it as well. I think people need to think about, I think maybe think away from just being Scottish. We're part of the world, and I think it's great. One of the things I love about some makers in here, and you mentioned, East End Press earlier, a very good example, where it's about looking outside of our borders and thinking about art and creativity in other parts of the world, and I think that's brilliant. And I don't think we do enough of that up here. I think sometimes we can look a bit inward, and it's just good to raise your head and look outside. Look outside Scotland, look to England, look to France, look to Mexico, Africa, wherever, just see different parts of the world and see how you can both work with them and be inspired by them and share ideas as well.